Howdy. People often ask me what's the difference between a basic setup on a guitar and an advanced setup. So I thought I'd put out a couple of videos to show you the differences in my shop, what the differences are. An advanced setup includes everything you would get at a basic setup, which would be generally, let me grab a guitar here. A basic setup would generally include setting up the truss rod or the relief of the neck, that sort of thing. It would include cutting the nut slots to the proper depth. It would include setting up the bridge height for action, setting up the saddles for proper intonation. In this case, this has a stop tailpiece. It would be also setting up the angle for the feel of the neck. It would also include, on a guitar like this, because it's electric, it would include setting the pickup height and angles so that each of the strings has the same output going across the strings. I also tend to, while I'm doing a basic setup, I tend to check the tuners to make sure none of them are too tight or too loose. Too loose so that they're kind of like rattling around. I also, of course, check all the tuner bolts on top to make sure that the tuner's on there snug but not too tight. I also check out the electronics. I clean out the jack if it needs to be. If it doesn't need to be, I don't generally spray things out because I don't need to be spraying cleaner in there if it's already clean. And I'll clean out the various pots, volume and tone, and the switch also if it needs it. And that's pretty much it. Then I generally go over the whole thing and just sort of wipe it down and make sure it's clean. That's a basic setup. An advanced setup will include doing a fret level and dress, and then polish the frets after they're done. And by the way, also in a basic setup, I often will just clean the fingerboard and oil the fingerboard. But in an advanced one, I'll polish it, clean it, and oil it, the whole deal. So that's about the difference. So let's get started. While the truss rod cover is off, I'm going to set the truss rod so that the neck is dead straight. I don't want to have any relief at this point. I want it to be dead straight so I can, when I do the fret level, all the frets will be at the same height. And I can get a very nice even fret level over the whole fingerboard. And what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for the flat mark that I made on top now goes this way, because I was taking this and going this way. It created what we call chatter marks, or filing marks that go this direction. What I'm going to do with this, I'm going to be going this way across the fingerboard, and I'm going to be looking for the center flat edge of the fret, of each fret. The fret goes like this. I made a little flat edge on top. I'm looking to remove those chatter marks that go this way, and what will happen is, as I'm watching it, I'll see the rounding come back, and then the fret marks that went this way will disappear, and the only fret marks, chatter marks, there will be from this file. Okay, so now we've got the frets the same height, and we've got them all rounded over to the same roundness. Okay, so that the top is where the string will hit. The string will hit the fret, and it'll hit a rounded area in the middle of the fret. Perfect. It'll be nice and in tune when it plays. But there are chatter marks on this fret now going this way, and when I run my fingernail across it, I can feel that. I can feel that there's a little bit of grittiness there. So what I like to do next is I take a fine sanding pad. Here's a good one. And I will go over this whole fingerboard. Remember, the last chatter marks I made went this way over. So now I'm going to go this way with the sanding pad to remove those chatter marks, and it'll make it that much smoother. This will not, people often will say, well, are you going to be flattening out the top of the finger frets? No. No, you don't, because this doesn't remove enough. You won't really even get any metal here, unlike the last two files. This one just really is just taking out the very scratchiness. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put strings on here. Again, I'm going to put on the same 10 to 46 that was on it to begin with. I like to set all the tuning posts so that the hole accepting the string is going this way. In other words, the post hole is going this direction, same way as the neck. So we're going to start, I like to start with the 6th string. You can start however you'd like. Really doesn't bother me. Let me put the tailpiece on. Ibanez's really have very smart hardware. I really like the hardware on these things. I have an old Ibanez that just is so well made. And the hardware's so nice. This is nice. I don't have to like fish a wire string through. I just drop it in and it goes in properly and sits right where it should here. It goes up. If you know anything about how I like to string a guitar, you know that I like to put a lock at the end of each string going through the tuning post. And I put about a hand's width or about 4 inches of slack in the string. You can see it there. I'm just using my hand as a gauge. I bend the string down here on the end towards the center of the face, come under the string, and then back up against itself. And now when I tighten this down, it'll the string will overlap itself immediately and make essentially a locking area, which is very easy to get off. There's nothing, it's not hard to get off. You know, it isn't like, you know, I'm running twice through the same hole or anything like that. I just make it a whole lock. Okay, so I'm going to put the string through the hole, just like that. Leave again about 4 inches of slack. I'm going to take the string, bend it around the post toward the center of the face. Toward the center of the face. If I was on this side, I would come around this way. Under itself. Around the post, nice and tight, under itself, and then back against itself like that. And when I tighten it down, when I tune it up, it'll tune up. You can see it like overlaps itself immediately. I also end up with about 1.5 to 2 times around the post, which is plenty. I don't want to have a lot of slack there, just sort of trying to find its way around. And putting the guitar out of tune mostly. Then I just clip it off right there. Bingo. Let's get the D. Okay, so it's tuned close to pitch. I'm not worried about it being perfectly in tune yet. What I'm looking for now is the truss rod. I have to check the truss rod and make sure the relief is proper on it. So that's what I'm going to check next. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to press down the 1st fret and the 14th fret. I generally use a capo on the 1st fret, so I don't have to do both at the same time. And the 14th fret. And I want to look over this 7th fret and see what kind of clearance I have. And it's not bad. It's actually, this is better than most guitars, but it still isn't perfect. I just did a fret level and dress on this, and very likely 4/1000ths of an inch is plenty of clearance. Probably closer, really, since this is an electric guitar, and it won't be probably played as hard. In fact, I know it won't be, as you would play an acoustic. This could probably be set closer to something like 2/1000ths of an inch. So I'm going to pull that one out here. I have my little feeler gauges. You can see them here. I'm looking for the one that says 2/1000ths of an inch. There's 3, here's 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press down, again, the 1st fret and the 14th fret. I'm going to see if this slides easily under the 7th fret, and it does, with clearance. In fact, I would say there's probably enough clearance there. It's probably at about 4/1000ths of an inch, or maybe 5. Let's see here. Check on that. Yeah, that's still a little high, I can see. Yep. It hasn't really grabbed yet. Now, the adjustment I'm making now can change over time. So be aware that you may have to come back to this and check it in a week or two and see if it has moved more than you expected or not enough. I don't want it sitting right on the fret. I want to have about, like I said, about 2/1000ths of an inch. If you can see that from that angle, you've got better eyes than I do. But it's the way you know, like I said, you press down the 1st and the 14th fret and see if this slides under without moving the string at all, but just touches the string. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let me just check it out. Yep, that looks pretty good. I may have to adjust a little more, but it's looking dead on at this point. Okay, I'm going to leave the truss rod cover off for now because I like to, after I get everything set up, I might want to do a little more adjustment. Okay, the next thing I want to set up is the string height off the fingerboard. There it is, 0.75. I'm going to see if I can get this down to, it's already at 0.3. Let's get it down to 0.25. I like to have the difference, for me, and I think for most people like it like this too, like a difference of about 1/2 millimeter between the bass side and the treble side. So that's what we're doing here. The next step is to set the intonation. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to play the 12th fret harmonic and then check it against the 12th fret played on each of the strings. We'll start with the low E. There's the 12th fret harmonic. And then I'm going to check it. And I'm listening for any differences. Is one higher than the other? That sounds a little sharp to me. Played one. That sounds sharp. That sounds sharp. That sounds good. Yeah, so some of these sound sharp to me. Well, I'm going to use a chromatic tuner, strobe chromatic tuner that I have actually on my phone. That'll do a pretty good job. It's going to get me within 1/10 of a cent. So that should be close enough. Let's see what we got here. you remember I've already done the truss rod, so I'm not going to make the neck any straighter, so this won't come down anymore. Okay, so what I'm doing is, I'm going to try to do it from that side so you can see. I'm sliding this piece of everything set flat, both pickups set full. Okay. To summarize, we did a fret level and dress and crowned each of the frets and then polished them up so they're ice smooth, really smooth right now. We set the truss rod properly. We strung the guitar. We set up the tension on all these tuners so that they move smoothly and easy. We checked the nuts here, the bushings, and they were loose, and so I tightened them down. And once we got it strung up, we set made sure the truss rod was right, and we then set the height of the bridge and the intonation. Right now, the action is set to, I believe, 125. Yeah, 1.25 millimeters on the low E and 0.75, yes, 0.75 over the high E. It's quite low. Plays amazing, no buzzing anywhere, of course. We set the intonation, cut the nut slots pretty much last, and then went over everything just to make sure everything was right. Acoustic guitar amp, so it's a little bright sounding, but everything's playing just as it should. It feels wonderful, and that's what happens in an advanced setup. The basic setup is essentially the same thing, but without all the fret work. So there you go. And now I think I've given you enough information that you can go and destroy your own guitar. Take care.